disappeared in the mountains. Part 1. The disappearance high in the mountains, among the endless forests and glaciers hidden from view. A place was lost, which the locals told about with caution. The valley, surrounded by steep slopes and stone cliffs, has long been shrouded in mystery. It was said that it had never been fully explored, as if nature itself did not want to reveal its secrets. But it was here that a group of 5 experienced travelers headed, people who were well prepared, equipped, and seemed confident that an exciting adventure awaited them. At first, communication with the group was lost for only a day, and rescuers hoped that the reason was bad weather or navigation problems. But when several days had passed and there was no sign or signal for help, their calmness was replaced by anxiety. A group of rescuers went on a search, taking with them maps, old records of those rare who once visited these places, and radio stations for constant communication. As the rescuers went deeper into the mountains, they came across the first oddities. The maps they took with them sometimes didn't match reality. Narrow trails suddenly went away from their usual routes, and the landmarks marked in the guidebooks either disappeared or turned out to be not where they should be looked for. For the first 2 days, they found nothing. No signs of camp, campfires, or lost belongings. It seemed that the 5 people had simply disappeared into thin air. Part 2. The First Find. On the 3rd day of the search, moving along increasingly dangerous mountain trails, rescuers came across something strange. In a small crevice under the cliff, they found the first trace. An old album, dilapidated from rain and wind, lay among the stones like a forgotten relic. The pages were covered with drawings and scribbles that could not be deciphered, but among them were notes written in the handwriting of one of the travelers. August 14th. We came across strange symbols on the stones, as if someone had left them for us. It looks like ancient signs, but with every step I take, I begin to feel that they mean something more. Every evening, the dreams get darker. August 16th. Tonight, I thought I heard footsteps around the camp, but no one noticed anything. The others start arguing, no matter who it sounds like. My soul is restless. The rescuers exchanged glances. The album was strange, but it could also be a coincidence. Perhaps the group got lost and started panicking, they thought. However, the find was eerie and seemed to warn, reminding of the dangers that could lurk in the depths of the forest. Part 3. The Second Discovery. Moving on, they discovered an even more frightening find, a camera dropped by someone from the group. To their surprise, the camera was working, and there were a lot of photos taken during the last days of the hike. In the first pictures, the travelers were calm, enjoying nature and open spaces. But the further the rescuers flipped through the photos, the more strange the images became. There were pictures of dark forests, empty trails, and strange figures flashing in the depths of the frames. These silhouettes were blurry, but had clear outlines of people, as if someone was watching the group from afar. The last photos, taken seemingly in a hurry, showed stone slabs decorated with ancient writings, and then the dark corridors of the cave, as if travelers had entered inside. What were they looking for? One of the rescuers whispered, feeling alarm creeping over him. Obviously, at some point the group deviated from the route, looking for something unknown. But what exactly? Part 4. Camp Without Traces. After several hours of searching, they came across a camp, or rather, its remnants. The tents were torn apart and scattered, as if they were overwhelmed by a storm or something with incredible force. But the scariest find was waiting for rescuers inside the tents. Scrawled on one of the tent's sprawling walls were the words, "We found him. We shouldn't have come in here. Curse! It's calling us." The words were scratched out with such ferocity that the tent material was practically falling apart under his fingers. But there were no signs of a struggle or bodies around. Rescuers examined the area, but did not find a single trace indicating that someone had left the camp. Even the tracks around the tent seemed old and covered with snow. Part 5. The Strange Label. On the 5th day of the search, the group came across one of the mysterious stones mentioned in the recordings. Symbols were engraved on the stone, like handprints, but they were bent at unnatural angles, creating almost inhuman shapes. These signs seemed to glow in the dark, and around them lay the bones of small animals, as a reminder of the death trap. "They found something they shouldn't have," one of the rescuers muttered, feeling a cold sweat on his back. Part 6. The Disappearance of the Rescuers. On the 6th day, 2 rescuers went missing. In the morning fog, leaving their post, they simply disappeared, leaving no trace. Their walkie-talkies were still in place, and their sleeping bags were neatly packed. The rest of the group began to panic, but it was no longer possible to return. The path back disappeared, as if the earth itself had changed its forms, not wanting to let them out. Part 7. The Last Entry. The last recording made by the head of the rescue team was found a week later by other rescuers who went in search of them. It was left in the diary. "We all see these signs. They surround us. They get closer. Rocks, caves, forest. Everything breathes this curse. There is not a single sound here except a whisper that escapes us. We should have left the day we found the first album. This valley won't let us go. If anyone is reading this, leave immediately." Epilogue. Since then, not a single member of the group has been found. People began to avoid the valley, and the locals are sure that this land is full of secrets that should not be revealed. Only a few dare even talk about the place where the rescue team disappeared, but always in a whisper, trying not to pronounce the names of the missing, as if the mountains themselves can hear and take away another soul.